Good evening, my name is Jason Debley and I'm back with detailed notes on Johnnie Walker Blue Label, the taste profile or the flavor profile. In my previous review from the other day, I don't think I gave you enough detail about what the whiskey tastes like. It's an expensive whiskey, so I thought I would be more clear about what it tastes like. I have this bottle sitting on a stack of New Yorker magazine. Oh, here's my latest. The problem with the New Yorker magazine is it comes weekly and it's hard to keep up with the reading. But, I mean, great writing, interesting perspective. It's not the only perspective I read, but I like the writing and the coverage of the arts. In any case, Johnnie Walker Blue Label, 40% alcohol by volume. It's a blended scotch. As I told you before, because it's a blended scotch, it doesn't taste like a single malt. And in my previous review, I said, it's hard to express what's the difference between a blend and a single malt. Well, I can express it the more I thought about it. A single malt will exhibit more what I call complexity. A blended scotch is going to be more, I hate to use the term, it's trite, but it's true. It's smooth, it's gentler, it's more integrated grains, and it's also because it's blended scotch, it uses grain whiskey. When I say grain whiskey, I mean grains other than malted barley or unmalted barley from Scotland. And here you're going to have other grains like wheat. And with a blended scotch, it's because you use grains other than barley, I find there is what I call a graininess or a caramelized onion type note in blended scotch. And typically, if the grain whiskeys are young, it's a bit offensive. Think of onions, think of with your steak, good. Think of with your whiskey, that onion note, bad. And a lot of grain or blended scotches have that onion kind of note. But with Johnnie Walker Blue, the blended or the grain whiskeys used are aged, and they're really picked at a good time for blending with the single malts. And the grain whiskeys here, I taste that onion, caramelized onion note, but it's good. It works. It complements the single malts. Single malts like Cardew, Klein Elish, and I think there's Talisker in here. Diageo owns a huge portfolio of distilleries, and there's a real peat and smoke backbone to Blue Label. In the past, in my previous review, I said that about 10-12 years ago, Blue Label was quite peated and, quite smoky. The current version I have here in 2020 is not nearly as peated and smoked as before, but there's still a backbone of smoke and peat, which is utterly enjoyable. On the nose, I detect that peat, a little mackerel note. Let's get to the palate. We won't bother with the aromas. As I said in my previous review, it's creamy. There is a honey, lemon, lime zest. There are like cooked pears. But it's enveloped in the warm embrace of like peat and smoke. Especially on the finish. You get that integrated grain note. And there's grain whiskeys here. Unmistakably, you're drinking a blend. There's no confusion. This is not a single malt. With Green Label, I think in a blind tasting, I can fool most people. They think they're drinking a single malt, but they're actually drinking what we call a blended malt, or a pure malt, a blend of single malts. Or sometimes with actually that's not a good analogy. Hibiki, a 17-year-old, I remember drinking that and thinking, this tastes like a single malt. It reminds me of like honeyed Speyside, or Hibiki 21-year-old, which are both blended Japanese whiskeys with plenty of barley, but also plenty of grain whiskeys added in. But when I would drink those blends, they could pass for single malts. When you drink Johnnie Walker Blue Label, you know it's a blended Scotch. It doesn't exhibit the same traits or attempt to be like a single malt. As I said in my previous review, you've got a real biscuit note to it. English biscuits, buttered. I wouldn't say toffee, and I wouldn't say caramel. And I'm picking up a real lemon, slice of lemon note, and salt on the finish. A lot of salt, bit of black pepper. Nothing offensive here, and nor should there be for the price point. I'm enjoying this. There's also really a pedestrian note to say would be a real apple juice type note to this. But it works. So it's good. The bottle's nearly empty. I had a long day at work, had a long week. I work with great people, and I thank God every day for that, because my previous job I worked with in a really toxic work environment. So it's good to work with good people. But I had a long week, hard work, and I know I'm going to kill this bottle tonight. There's not much left. But I thought I would just do this quick note. So the quick note to take away on Johnnie Walker Blue Label: you're definitely drinking a blended Scotch. If you're buying it as a gift for somebody who likes blends like Chivas Regal 18, Royal Salute 21, then Johnnie Walker Blue is right in that category. Is it the best? Depends on your taste. Certainly good, certainly very expensive. On a value for money proposition, a single malt's going to exhibit more complexity. But for many people, the average consumer of blended Scotch who wants to spend extra money, they want this. They don't want a single malt. Great integration of grain whiskies with the single malts. A real backbone of Islay in there, and Skye. I'm sure there's some Talisker in this blend. Thank you for tuning in. Hope this fills out the flavor profile for Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Next week we're going to do a cognac review, Martell VS, I think it's single distillery. Let you know more about that then. Take care.